A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. For Jerry of the Circus.
Hurry up and stop him, somebody.
Hold on tight, Jerry. Wilson's got Carmen now. She'll be here in a minute.
I'm going to fall off. Can't somebody stop him?
Nobody knows the right Spanish word to say. Hold on, Jerry. Here comes Carmen now. Hey, look out. See that bull away from the soft stringy tail? Get him away, Jerry. He'll knock that stand to pieces.
I can't hear him. Oh,
that was a close call. Here we are, Jerry. Carmen, over here.
Hurry, Carmen.
Hurry, Carmen.
El mundo! Alto! Alto! Alto el mundo!
Oh, he's stopping all right.
Of course he stops if you tell him to.
Golly, I was just about to fall off. I can't see how I stayed up on his head as long as I did.
Alto el mundo! Now, Jerry, you want to get down yet?
I'll say.
Siéntate! Siéntate el mundo!
That's okay now. I can get down.
Well, yeah, the great show you put on, Jerry.
Beats me what one little word will do, Carmen.
If it is the right word.
What did you say to him, Carmen?
Only alto.
Alto?
That means to stop.
I guess that's the first thing I should have learned to say in Spanish. It would have saved me an awful rough ride.
Oh, you were bouncing, Jerry?
Yeah.
I'll say I was. It's harder to stay up on an elephant's head when he's running than it is to ride a bucking bronco.
Oh, he's all right, Rags.
Rags, you might. It's all your fault. Yes, it is.
What do you mean, Jerry? Poor Rags did not make El Mundo run so fast. El Mundo, he is used to dogs.
It's like this, Carmen. Jerry wanted Rags to quit chasing after El Mundo, and he yells, "Vamos" to him.
Yeah, and El Mundo thought I meant it for him.
Oh, that is too bad. Never say vamos. That means, how you say, beat it, run fast.
Yeah, I found that out.
Well, come on, let's get this fella back where he belongs in the menagerie.
I will go along with you,
Yeah,
yes?
come along. Sure, Carmen.
Come on, Rags. Well, my first elephant ride was sure a fast one.
But you will never be afraid now. That was good it happened so.
Oh, Mundo didn't seem afraid. All the people shouting at him and all the excitement, and, well, he kept right on going around and around the backyard.
I bet he liked it. I mean, all that commotion.
Oh, sure. He liked to be the whole show. He is smart, El Mundo.
Yeah.
And he is not afraid of anything.
Well, here we are, in here, El Mundo.
Now, quit talking back to El Mundo, Rags.
See, I got a right smart story about an elephant. I think it's the smartest elephant I ever heard tell of.
Tell us about it.
Oh, sure I will. This elephant really figured something out all by himself. Oh, here, wait till I fasten El Mundo down. There you go, El Mundo.
Huh, he's getting a welcome from the rest of the herd.
Sure. He get along with the rest fine. They all like El Mundo.
All right, there you are, fella.
You going to tell us a story now?
Well, sure you got time, Carmen?
Oh, I have always got time to hear a good elephant story. I love to hear about them.
Good. And sit down here on this bale of hay.
Sit here, Carmen.
Okay, Jerry.
There we are. Well, now, this is a true story, and it happened many years ago when I was just a young fellow.
In a circus?
Yep, first outfit I ever joined up with. I got me a job as an elephant guard right off.
And you did not know anything about them?
No, but I sort of took to 'em. As a kid, I always had a hankering to be around the big critters, and as I took to 'em, why, so they took to me. I never had a run-in with a bull yet.
Oh, go ahead with the story.
Okay. Well, to start with, the elephant's name was Hilda, and as pretty a cow elephant as you've ever seen. Nice and gentle, too. Never had a run-in with nobody. The fellow that had charge of her was a lad named Shorty. I forget his last name. And he and Hilda was just regular pals.
Like you and Gertie, huh?
Yeah. At one time, we took on a new man, one of those nitwits that gets a kick out of teasing animals.
And he teased Hilda, I guess?
Oh, tease her is right. He made poor Hilda's life miserable for no reason at all.
Oh, what did he do?
Well, one thing would get her goat. He'd put her feed down in front of her, just out of her reach. She'd tug at her chains and reach out her trunk, but she couldn't get at it.
Oh, that is mean, Tree.
Mean is right. All the other elephants in the line eating away, and poor Hilda trying her best to get her food. You know?
Oh, did she get even with him?
I'll come to that, Jerry. There's more to the story. Shorty, he was awful ticklish.
A man ticklish?
Yeah, touchiest fellow I've ever seen. Why, if you just point a finger at him and walk towards him, he'd squirm around something fierce.
Oh, that must have been funny.
Well, you know, all the fellas got a kick out of that. They used to have fun with Shorty by sneaking up behind him and then grabbing him and then tickling him good. They always had to be careful to stay in back of him, though.
Why?
Well, because when Shorty'd get tickled, he'd strike out and hit anything in front of him. He couldn't help it. Why, if he had a sledgehammer in his hands and somebody tickled him, he'd hit whatever was in front of him with that hammer, man, woman, or child.
But what about the elephant, Hilda?
Well, that's all part of the story, Carmen. You see, Hilda knew Shorty was ticklish. She'd watched some of the fellas having fun with him. Well, this whole story is just to show you how smart an animal can be, how they can, figure things out for themselves.
Boy, I'll say they're smart.
Now, you just listen to this, Jerry. Well, one day when this guard that was teasing Hilda come into the menagerie and walked over to the elephant line, Shorty was right on the spot. And he had a big stake in his hand, like a big club. Well, sir, Hilda kept her eyes on both Shorty and this fella she had it in for. And when her enemy got right in front of Shorty, she put out her trunk as quick as a flash and tickled Shorty right under the arm.
And Shorty, he hit the fellow with the claw.
Exactly.
Oh.
He hit out at that guy and beat him something awful.
Well, what do you know about that?
Yeah, I'll just bet Hilda waited for that chance a long, long time.
She knew Shorty would hit that fella she didn't like.
Oh, yes, I bet she knew it. She figured it out all by herself.
They are very smart.
Oh, I should say smart as a whip.
Well, what happened to Shorty? Did he get in trouble for beating that fella?
Oh, no, Jerry. Everybody knew it wasn't his fault. He didn't mean to hit out that way. He just couldn't help it when he got tickled.
And besides, that fellow, he had it coming. It was good for him.
Yes, sir, Carmen, you bet it was. And he behaved himself from then on, too. Why, do you know, he even made up with Hilda. And after that, they become good friends.
She got even, and that's all she wanted.
That's right.
Say, while I think of it, I once heard that elephants like to eat coal. Is that true, Olson?
Oh, sure it is, Jerry. They just love to crunch on a piece of coal.
And why not? We like to chew on a piece of hard candy now and then.
But coal isn't candy.
Might be to an elephant. They seem to like the taste of it.
That was a good story about Hilda. Have you got one more good story to tell us?
Well, now, let's see, Carmen. I don't seem to recall.
Then I have one for you. This one is about a baby elephant.
Oh, good. Go ahead and tell it.
This happened in Europe when I was little girl. One time it was raining very much, and we have to put boards across a little, how you say it, a little stream.
A little stream.
Yes.
And it was like a little bridge they make so we can cross over.
Oh, was it deep?
Oh, no, not so deep. But about 10 feet to the bottom, or maybe 6.
Well, what happened?
Well, we were going across. First a few horses, and then the guard with the baby elephant. But just before the baby gets to the other side, the boards break. And the baby elephant fall down through the broken boards into the stream with stones and everything.
Oh, that's a bad fall for a baby bull, too.
Was he hurt, Carmen?
Yes, Jerry, he was hurt pretty bad. He get a bruise, and the broken boards, they hurt him, too.
I imagine they would. Well, how'd they get him out of the stream and back up on the road again?
Oh, they have to get other elephants and horses and a lot of men, and then they have to pull him up.
Oh, that must have been real exciting, all right.
Oh, he was a sick baby elephant for a long time. They put lots of liniment on him, but he did not get well. He would only lay down and not stand up at all.
Well, he must have been hurt worse than they thought.
No. You know what it was?
Oh, what was it?
All the time, the trainers are making his legs well.
Yeah?
But they do not understand what is wrong.
Well, yeah, but what was it?
He keep putting his trunk up to his eye, but nobody looked there.
And his eye was sore, huh?
Yes. A piece of broken board was in his eye, and that's what was the trouble all the time. And then when they fixed that, he make a loud cry, and he was happy.
You just got to love them when you hear so many things about how clever they are.
And El Mundo is more clever than all of them.
Yeah.
You will see, Olson. You will be glad he joined up with you.
You think we'll be able to work together all right, Carmen?
Oh, sure, Jerry. You will make a big hit when you are working with El Mundo. Of course, you must give him the right command.
Yeah, Jerry found that out.
I'll say I did.
Yeah, you got to learn elephant lingo in Spanish.
Hey, look it. Here comes Carlos.
Oh, yes. It is Carlos. Here we are.
Over here by El Mundo, Carlos.
Oh, yeah, he sees us.
Here, Ace, come here. Kind of glad to see your friend Carlos, huh?
Carlos, you should have been here. What a time we have had with this old friend of ours.
Who? What do you mean?
El Mundo. He ran away with Jerry here.
Yes, I bet. You're not fool, Carlos. El Mundo is best elephant in the world. I just see him run off with Jerry.
No, honest, Carlos. We gave him the wrong command.
Yeah, I'll say. We tried to get him to stop, but none of us could think of the word in Spanish.
No. Really? You're not fool, Carlos?
If I had not been around here, perhaps they'd be 50 miles away by now.
So, for once, Jerry not know what to say, huh?
I knew what to say, all right, but a lot of good it does when you have foreigners around. Foreign elephants, I mean.
I guess perhaps we better keep quiet, Carlos.
I keep quiet? No, Carmen, I have too much to say. Give me chance, but I have big news.
Yes?
I have just received telegram that is very important.
What is it?
Yes, Carlos, do not keep the news to yourself. What is the telegram?
It is maybe the turning point in our lives. But quick now, there is no time to lose. We must get Alfredo and go quick to Mr. Randall.
Oh, what's Mr. Randall got to do with it?
I will tell you all about it later, Jerry, as soon as we know for sure.
It beats all get out what you're trying to say, Carlos. I can't figure it out.
Carlos, you tell us now, yes?
Please, Carmen, you come with me now. We find Alfredo and see Mr. Randall. Everything depends on him.
Go ahead, Carmen, and find out what this is all about.
You will see. It is the most important thing that has ever happened to Bendinis. Hurry, come.
minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, The Green Hills of Earth. The men who pioneer the trade routes of the world, the sailors of the clipper ships, the whaling men, railroaders, black gangs on the tramp steamers, all have their own stories and song about dangers and struggles of their lives.
This is the story of Riesling, the blind singer of the spaceways. When I first met him, he was hustling drinks in the Twin Moons bar at Dry Waters, Mars. He'd won a guitar off a Chinese barkeep at Luna City by cheating at one thumb. And he made his whiskey by singing in the bar and passing the hat.
Listen to her, Hertzman. Don't you sing pretty? Like a 16-year-old gal.
Hey, Riesling, look over there at the bar. There's an Institute 4-striper giving you the eye. Do you know him?
Manner of speaking. Cold-looking scoundrel, ain't he? Gives the idea he graduated Harriman Space Institute 3 men above St. Peter.
Who is he?
Captain Hicks off the Ghost Show.
Yeah, well, he sure gives you the once-over. Maybe he's got a job.
That don't make never no mind to me. I've been blacklisted. Hicks logged me for making up a song on watch. Right fight song, too.
Oh, the skipper is a father to his crew. Yeah, well, hold on. Here comes old Brasson.
Oh, Riesling, I've been looking for you. You've kept your nose clean, and we're going to give you another chance to get back to deep space.
Been a little changing down there from the Goshawk, ain't you, Skipper?
How'd you know that?
You got that new atomic pile drive.
If there's been a leak at the shops,
Now, take it easy, Skip. You'll have that gold braid just a-crawling right up your arm.
Quit stalling, Riesling. Take it or leave it. It's a loop trip to Jupiter with the standard release.
I reckon. Double pay when you get back, if you get back. Last 3 of them atomic tea kettles blew somewhere in the asteroids.
If you're scared.
Scared? Well, that Goshawk is one stinking old tub. Her engine's got more bugs than a beagle dog in spring. And her new drive's about as safe as a pretty gal in the Ozarks. But I reckon she'll do for one more trip.
Welcome home, Riesling.
Hi, Jimmy Legs. Meet my friend Hertzman. He can't hold his liquor no more than a sieve, poor boy.
Riesling, you sober enough to sign the book?
Drunk or sober, I make my mark. Stand aside.
3 X's?
Took me a middle name.
Ha, ha, ha. You two lay below. And Hertzman, get him sobered up before the skipper makes rounds. Cargo stowed, Captain. Fuel lines away and ready.
Good, Casey. Well, what's that?
What it? Oh, that's a guitar, I guess.
If it's that shoeless hillbilly, I'm going to tell him...
Hi, Skipper.
Riesling, what the devil are you doing up here?
That number 2 jet ain't fit. Cadmium dampers are warped. Crooked like a turtle's back.
Well, why tell me? Tell the chief engineer.
I did. He says they'll hold.
Well?
He's wrong.
Oh, he's wrong, eh? He's got a Harriman Institute degree in electronics and power. And some drunk space rat says he's wrong.
Skipper, I was damping jets when that shirt-tailed tad wore pins for buttons.
I got no time for your Riesling. Scratch your name off the book.
No, don't get excited.
Well, are you shipping or not?
I reckon.
Then get below. That's all. Casey, sound takeoff.
Aye, sir. Come on,
On a Hawk-class clunker in those days. Damping was done by hand with a multiplying vernier and a danger peeper. Jetman slept with one ear tuned to that. And as long as the peeper ticked off slow and steady, we knew the ship was safe. For a while. Riesling, you better stow that guitar. If Jimmy Legs catches you, you'll blow a gasket.
Don't worry, I could damp this tea kettle in my sleep.
Yeah, how's number 2?
All right, so far. Say, did you ever hear that song about Hicks? The one that got me blacklisted?
No.
Oh, the skipper is the father of his crew. A gentle guide and light to me and you. But on Mars he likes his women if they walk or if they're swimming. Or if they got 6 arms instead of 2.
Second verse is better.
Yeah. The skipper likes his liquor by the quart. Yeah, he'd go from Mars to Venus for a snort. He'll drink rocket fuel and...
Well, hi, Skipper. Didn't see you come in.
You were too busy, eh? Who's watching the gauge?
I got an eye on it. Don't you fret none.
Riesling, I'm going to fix it so you couldn't get a space berth on a rocket-powered pogo stick. You're logged. Report to Casey under arrest.
I don't rightly think I will, Skipper.
You what?
You kind of forget, Skipper. According to Space Code, you can't remove a jet man till the end of the watch, right?
You tell me Riesling, your shift is over at 2300. And I'll see you ride the rest of the way in slop lockup.
Maybe. In the meantime, you clear out of my power room. I gotta make me up a third verse for my song.
Yeah, I got it. Power room.
Damp number 2 a point.
Number 2,
Hold on, Hertzman. Jimmy Legs, is that force-drive boil up there?
Give me that, Casey. Riesling, I've taken about enough from you.
And I got a little news for you, Skipper. Number 2 jet is bulging like a fat lady in a satin skirt.
Listen, you clown. Damp number 2 a point.
Sure. Look out, Hertzman. I'll take it. You watch the gauge. Now.
He's riding easy here.
It's bucking a little.
Riesling,
hit the emergency! All right. She won't get it, but that warp. There go the lights. Duck her! Duck! Riesling! Stay down behind the baffle. I gotta take a look. It's ready, icy. Look out. I've gotta fish the hot stuff out of the tube. What's going on down there? Shut up, Jimmy Legs. I'm busy. She's tight now.
What happened?
Number 2 blew, you lunk-headed space rat.
You all right?
A little sunburn. Lights are gone. What's the matter with the emergency circuits?
Riesling,
Jimmy Legs, get some lights down here. It's dark. Get the emergency light on.
But they're on, Riesling. They went on right after the blast. The lights are on.
What are you talking about? Dark. Jimmy Legs! Jimmy Legs, turn on the lights. Turn on the lights.
That blue, radioactive glow from the jets was the last thing Riesling ever saw. His optic nerve was burned out in an instant. He was in sick bay on the rest of the trip, and on the swing back, we set Riesling down at Drywater. I ran into Riesling about 2 months later, playing his guitar on a jetty that ran out into the canal. He had a dirty rag tied over his eyes with a jetman's knot, and his hat was on the wharf beside him. When he finished, we walked out along the canal.
Yeah, I'm doing right fine. Working saloons mostly. But I've been thinking some funny songs, Hertzman. The words come out different than they used to. Come on along the canal with me.
Sure. Here, take my arm.
I know the way. That's another funny thing, Hertzman. I figure I know it better than other folks. Look back there, towards the city. What do you see?
New factory buildings? You could smell them from here.
I still remember them old Martian towers, old before Bible times on Earth. Thin and graceful like the fairy palaces my old grandma used to tell about down home in the hills.
Yeah, they torn them down now, or else blocked them up with cinder blocks.
Hertzman, when I stand out here in the canal, I can see it the way it used to be. The water ice blue with the stars shining up out of it. Way off there, the city with the towers sweeping up like a bird flying off a tree. I can see it.
Now it's the dirtiest stinkhole in the system.
Not to me. Listen, Hertzman.
Bone tired the race that raised the towers forgotten are their lores. Long gone the gods who shed the tears that lap these crystal shores. Slow beats the time-worn heart of Mars beneath this icy sky. The thin air whispers voicelessly that all who live must die.
I can't figure it myself. I never put words together like that before. I reckon it's just I got time now to study the words and shine them up in my head till they sing true.
Why don't you go home, Riesling?
Home?
Earth.
I've been thinking about that, Hertzman. When I was a young'un down in the Ozarks, I used to climb a big old oak tree my daddy had in the dooryard. You could see the hills for miles, green and cool. I've been thinking about that.
Well, why don't you go back then?
Someday, Hertzman, but I couldn't face those hills now. I couldn't stand to see black when I knew they was lying all around me, cool and green in the sun. I couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to town, Hertzman. I made $3.50 marching today, and I'm all set to drink it down before dawn. Come on.
I lost track of Riesling after that. I shipped out in a slow freight to the convict class for Luna, and he hitched a hike to Venusburg in an ore ship in the Triplanet run. So he beat around the system, Venusburg to Layport to Drywater to New Shanghai and back. Any spaceport was his home, and no skipper'd refuse to lift the extra mass of Riesling and his guitar. He made up his songs sitting out watches down in the power rooms with old shipmates, while the monotonous beat of the jets shook the hull plates.
Hear the jets, hear the jets, hear them snarl at your back when you're stretched on the rack. Hear the jets, feel the pain in your ship, feel the strain in your grip. Hear the jets, feel the rise, feel her drive, strain and steel come alive on her jets, on her jets.
Little by little, his songs began to travel along with spaceways ahead of him. Raw spaceman songs. A different kind of song. Strange, sad songs, like the ones you find printed in the Centennial editions. Well, there's one called Dark Star Passing and Death Song of a Weed Coat. And then finally, The Green Hills of Earth. It grew for 20 years, that song. They say it started way back when Riesling was down in the labor camps in Venus singing for the indentured men. When when he hit Venus, he'd always head out to the backwoods to sing for them.
First, if someone will kindly pass a bottle.
Oh, it ain't much, Riesling. Here.
It'll do. Oh, what is that stuff?
Tequila. You can't make him good here on Venus.
What do you use?
Karak bush. It is different.
How'd you come to sign on?
When a man comes out the village from the city, he says there's work. You sign the paper and you work. Work? It's work, all right. 10 stinking hours in the jungle with machete.
How long you signed for?
And then I only speak Spanish. I don't know. The paper says 10 years. 10 years?
How long you got to go?
What's the use? We ain't getting home. You know how many men die out there in the swamp today? 10 men. 10. What's the use? My mother, she's dead. My father don't care.
Girl?
Oh, she says she waits. I don't know. You sing some more, Riesling. We drink and you sing, huh?
Maybe a new song, son.
We rot in the molds of Venus. We retch out a tainted breath.
See.
Foul All our flooded jungles crawling with unclean death. We've tried each spinning space moat and reckoned its true worth. Take us back to the homes of men and the cool green hills of earth. Take us back.
What's the matter? Finish the song, Riesling.
I can't yet. It just don't come. I'll finish it when I go home. That's it. When I go home to the hills. Now pass that bottle. That dawn whistle don't blow for 4 hours.
That's where the Green Hills started. And I was there when it was finished. It was 20 years after that. And there wasn't a man flying or on the beach that hadn't heard of Riesling and his songs. He was getting old now for a spaceman. He was a familiar figure through the system. Tall, gaunt, with that dirty bandage tied across his blind eyes. I was a chief jetman then on the old Falcon. We were cradled at Venus, Ellis Isle, scheduled for a direct jump to Great Lakes, Illinois, on Earth. I was checking in Dunwich when Riesling felt his way up the gangway and came through the loft. Hey, Riesling!
Who's that?
Mike Hertzman.
Hertzman!
What are you doing in this old hog boat?
Well, I figured I'd ride it back to Earth.
Earth? You going home, Riesling? I thought you were never going to make that run. What changed your mind?
Oh, I've been hankering to set foot in the Ozarks again.
Yeah, how about those hills?
Yeah, I've been singing about them so long now, Hertzman. I got to finish the song. I got to set foot in the dooryard and hear the wind through that oak tree. It's about the last thing I'll be doing. I got to get home before...
Look, Riesling, there's a new company policy in effect now. No more deadhead rides. A new code book's in force.
Oh, that don't bother me none. I'm riding it back to Earth. I'm going to finish my song. It's got to be there.
Yeah, but the skipper's one of them youngsters fresh out of Harriman Institute cadet training. He'll throw the book at you.
At me? I've been around space as long as Haley's Common, Bruce's Ridge. I'm going back to Earth. The old green hills of Earth. I'm going home.
Was it cured, Hertzman?
Yes, sir.
What are you doing here?
This is Riesling, Captain.
Riesling, huh?
I'm dragging it back to Earth, Captain.
Not in this ship. Shake a leg and get out of here.
Oh, no, Captain, you wouldn't begrudge an old man a trip home.
I can't do it. Space Precautionary Code Clause 6. Now, come on, clear out.
Well, now, look, Skipper, you can slide me by onto the distressed spaceman's coals in that code book.
Distressed spaceman, my eye. You've been bumming around the system for 30 years.
Oh, Skipper, you're making me do something I never done to no one before. I'm an old man. An old blind man. I want to go home. I never crawled in front of a force drop in my life, but you got to let me drag home. The law says a man's got a trip coming to him, and you can stretch for a poor old blind man. Now, can't you? You got to, Skipper.
All right, you old space rat, but keep out of the way. I run an efficient ship, and I don't want any trouble.
Oh, no, sir. No trouble. I'll just lay down to the power room. I kind of like to be near the jets when they blast off for Earth.
Sit down, Riesling. Take a load up.
Hey, thanks, Mac.
Power room, fire 3.
Aye, sir. Have you seen these new automatic tampers, Riesling? Don't have to do nothing, just sit and watch.
Yeah, where's the peeper?
Turned off. It's all automatic.
Youngsters have it solved. When I was twisting her tail, you had to stay awake. You got the old hand damping plates on?
All but the links. I unshipped them. They cover up the dials.
You might need them.
Oh, the automatics handle everything. Well, you're finally going home, Riesling, huh? Won't seem the same out past the moon.
Yeah, I've been thinking of this a long time, Mac. It's going to be good to get home. Reckon?
The Arctic sky is calling spacemen back to their trade.
Nick, I got the emergency.
The hand dampers. Here's the links. Mac! Mac! They ought to be on the wall somewhere here. There, I got them.
Emergency squad coming in.
Stay out. The place is hot. Radiation blast.
Stay behind the baffle.
I got the links shipped. I can hand damper now.
What's going on in there?
I'm spilling jet freeze.
Is this McDougal?
McDougal's dead. This is Riesling on water.
Riesling? Get out of there. You'll kill yourself.
Don't worry, Skipper. I know this power room like the inside of my shirt. Somebody's got the damper.
Riesling, I'm sending in a crew.
No use. The whole room will be hot for an hour and the other jets won't hold. Oh, Skipper, throw on a recording tape.
What?
Throw on a recording tape. I got a song to finish. And I got to make it right now. Yeah, I can hear it.
Riesling, the radiation will burn you down.
She's clear now, Skipper. She'll burn out clean.
Riesling, are you all right?
I reckon. Pretty sharp sunburn. You'll pick me out of here with tongs and bury me in a lead shield coffin. Radiation's getting bright. I can almost see. Bright, rosy like the sun. Like the sun over the hills down home.
We pray for one last landing on the globe that gave us birth. Let us rest our eyes on the fleecy skies of the cool green hills of earth.
That's the way he died. Riesling, the blind singer of the spaceways, singing of the home he never reached, the cool green hills of Earth.
You have just heard X-1, transcribed by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight's story, The Green Hills of Earth, written by Robert Heinlein and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Ken Williams as Riesling, Nelson Olmsted as Hertzman, Matt Crowley as Hicks, Wendell Holmes as Casey, Bill Griffiths as Rodriguez, Bill Lipton as the Skipper, and William Zuckert as McDougal. Original music for Riesling songs was written and sung by Tom Glazer. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Fred Way and is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week, the strange story of Dr. Grimshaw's sanitarium and of a patient there who suddenly found himself involved in a game of cat and mouse. But the man had actually been reduced to the size of a mouse, while the cat remained full size. What happened then? You'll learn next week.
Convicts tell their true stories on The Loser, tonight over most NBC radio stations.
The Magic Island has become a place of dread terror and weird scientific happenings. Mrs. Gregory, Captain Bradford, and Jerry Hall are constantly watched by the mastermind of the strange colony on the Isle of Euclidia. Joan, the long-lost little daughter of Mrs. Gregory, has been found on the island and wants to escape with her mother and her new friends. But this seems impossible. Captain Bradford is confined in a cell. And as Jerry talks to him through the solid, yet translucent wall, the captain chokes, seizes his throat, and falls.
Captain Bradford! Tex! What happened to you? Oh, gee, I got to do... Joan told me not to touch this wall. It's charged with electricity. But I've got to do something for Tex. That crazy old scientist G47 has done this. I'll find him. Help! Somebody! G47! Joan! Mrs. Gregory! Help! Mrs. Gregory, help!
Here I am, Jerry. What's the matter?
Come here quickly, Mrs. Gregory. Hurry.
What's happened, Jerry? You look badly shaken up.
Captain Bradford. Tex, in this cell. Something choked him.
Oh.
He choked and fell down.
Where is he now?
Right here, in this cell.
We've got to do something for him.
Don't touch that wall. It's charged. I didn't go in there, but here comes C-47 now. He'll know what to do.
Did he do this to Tex?
I think so. Tex and I were talking about...
What is all the screaming about, you young fool? What is going on here?
You know what's going on.
What have you done to Captain Bradford?
I have done nothing to him. I have ways of knowing what is going on in the cells. I heard this young fool and the captain plotting against me.
But what did you do to the captain?
I did nothing to him.
You did, too. He was talking to me, then he started to choke. He grabbed his throat and fell over.
So? There is something wrong here. Come with me. We'll have a look in this cell. I ordered nothing done. It is possible that one of my assistants ordered the gas turned into the cell accidentally.
Hurry, then. He may be dead by now.
That would depend on what kind of gas was given.
He started to turn black in the face.
That is bad. We must hurry. You may come in also.
Look out. Don't touch that wall.
Have no fear. When you ran screaming from the cell, I had the current turned off. We will enter.
Oh, Tex. Tex, what happened to you, Tex?
Keep your face away from his, madame. If it is the lethal gas, one breath of it from his respiratory organs in their natural constriction and you would be... Oh, no. He breathes. Strange. What could have happened?
Well, let's do something.
Yes, anything, only hurry.
Well, something is amiss here. I have never had an accident like this. You, young man.
Yes?
Do you know artificial respiration?
Sure I do.
Administer it at once. I have cut all communication to this cell. I must return to my quarters to establish contact with the laboratory again. I will have aid here in less than 90 seconds.
Work fast, Jerry. I know how to do it. Let me help.
Quiet, both
Why
of you.
he text you?
Quiet, I said. We have just about a minute. He said all communication was cut off from this cell, so no one will overhear us. I'm all right. Just faked this so Jerry would run out yelling and give us this chance.
You sure scared me.
All right, hurry. You have a plan, Tex. What is it?
We'll never get this chance again, so listen closely. At all other times, they can see and hear all we do, no matter where we are on the island or on the yacht. But they must have something to protect themselves against the very thing they have developed.
I don't see...
I do. They figure someone else might be smart enough to invent rays and beams and all that, and they have something that will stop all those things.
Exactly, son. Now, here's the plan. We'll find out what that material is. It's either cloth, wood, or metal which shields out all rays and cannot be dissolved by gases or light rays. And sound and visibility will not penetrate it. We'll get our hands on some of that stuff. Pick an excuse to spend our time on the yacht, smuggle that material aboard, and use it to shield our radio while we signal the world, or escape from here. Now, you got all that?
Every word of it. And I'll get G47 to take me on a tour of all the machines and laboratories and find out what it is.
I'll work too, Tex. Maybe Joan will know.
Quiet. I think I felt a vibration through these walls. Work on me, quick.
Gee, Mrs. Gregory, he's breathing all right, but he doesn't seem to wake up very fast.
Oh, Jerry, what can we do? Why doesn't help come?
There is no need to worry, madame. And you, Hall, you may cease trying to tear the captain's arms out by the roots.
What's it all about?
We can't wake him. Do something for him.
If he dies, I'll get you for this G47.
Your threats are foolish, and you know it. You cannot harm me.
Never mind that. What happened to Tex?
One of my assistants in the laboratory R3 was working with a new 800-second paralyzing ray. A beam of it must have escaped and cut through this cell.
Then Captain Bradford will be all right?
You mean he'll come out of it just like Joan and I did?
Yes, he will. If it was the 800-second ray, he should be over the effects of it in just 20 seconds. As I figure it from the time you screamed.
Did you time it exactly when I screamed?
Naturally. Our disturbance indicator records every slight shock, even of a voice. Records it to the fraction of a second. And all our personal chronometers are synchronized with that.
Golly, what a place this is. A wristwatch is a personal chronometer.
One thing is exactly the same here as in your world.
I'd like to know what it is.
A talkative, Young fool.
What are you two arguing about now?
Oh, Tex, what's happened to you?
Oh, we were scared. I saw you start to choke and fall.
Jerry ran for me. Then we got G47. He says it was an accident.
I don't like your accidents, Chief.
It was entirely an accident. Nothing will happen to you. Nothing of a serious nature. So long as you remain quiet and do not attempt to escape. Oh, but this is most irregular.
That's irregular enough for me, all right. I'm not in the habit of choking myself to sleep.
Ah, that is the irregularity I refer to. You, Jerry Hall, when the 60-second ray was turned on you, you did not choke, did you?
Why, no. Ouch!
Oh, sorry I kicked you, kid. Guess I'm a little clumsy from my nap.
Answer the question, Jerry. G47 is trying to find out something about what happened to Captain Bradford. And answer it carefully.
Very good, madame. I see you are learning the necessity for accuracy in our work.
Well, if there's liable to be any more accidents like this, I think we should all help to clear it up.
Very good. Well, Hall, answer my question. Did you feel a choking sensation from the ray?
I guess I did. I don't know. I did a little, but it happened so quickly. Well, I didn't have time to try and move like Captain Bradford did.
Oh, yes. I think that will be it. You were directly in the path of the ray when I used it on you. But this was a stray beam that escaped from the laboratory, and it must have struck Captain Bradford at a tangent. Then as he fell, he got the full force of the center of the beam.
Well, whatever it was, I've had about enough of it. Shall we go to the yacht now and make ourselves comfortable? You know we haven't any quarters ashore yet.
I was going to suggest that you make your home on the yacht for the time. Some of my assistants have been busy there. You will be observed just as if on the island. And I think you know now what that means.
It means that you can see and hear all we do when you want to. And it would be foolish to try to escape.
Exactly. I may build you permanent quarters on the island tomorrow. Oh, but it takes nearly 1,800 seconds to build a proper apartment for a lady. I cannot spare my assistants tonight.
Boy, half an hour to build a house and he's too busy.
All right, may we go now? I said... Where is he?
He's gone. Just like a breath.
You forget. You can step through any of these walls if the juice is turned off. The walls all move without a sound.
Good boy, Jerry. Keep a level head on your shoulders. We mustn't let this weird stuff get us to believing in ghosts.
That wouldn't be hard to do after seeing and hearing these things. But we must remember that these people are merely clever scientists. And all they have done, we can do.
Now you're talking, Mrs. Gregory. We can figure it all out if we don't get too excited. And I do believe one thing that old Frankenstein told us.
Well, he doesn't bluff. And in his position, he doesn't have to lie to us. So we'd better believe all he tells us.
Yeah, but I meant what he said about being safe as long as we don't try to escape. It was surely lucky you kicked me when we were talking about... Ouch! Oh, gee, I'm sorry.
Watch it, son. Now, Pat, you and Jerry come with me. We'll go back to the yacht for the night.
I wonder if they'd let Joan stay on the yacht with us. If not, I'll spend the night with her on the island.
I imagine it'd be all right, unless she knows too many things about the island. Things she might tell us.
I'll go see G47 and ask him.
May I go, please? You and Captain Bradford go down to the yacht, and I'll get Joan and bring her down there.
We'll hurry over to the yacht, Tex. I can fix my cabin up nicely for Joan, and I want to get some pictures to show her.
Funny place, this island. Seemed about half a mile when we sailed around it, but it's only a few steps to walk across it.
They've certainly used every inch of space here. The whole thing is weird, even the names. Euclidia, G47, Cleostra. Oh, Tex, if we ever get back to the world, what a story we can tell. If we ever get back.
We'll get back. Jerry and Joan ought to be able to find what we were discussing.
There are the lights of the yacht. Yonder, I wonder where the skipper is.
Nothing would get him excited. He's probably having a good sleep in his bunk, waiting to wake up and find it all a dream. Well, here we are, just as we left it. What? Oh, the glasses again, eh?
Someone took my glasses off, too. I didn't even brush against my skin.
But why didn't we see someone before the glasses were taken off?
There are many things on this island that even these glasses will not aid you to see. The young fools will be with you in a moment. Sleep well, my friends. I will watch over you. I will watch over you.
Yes, and he will, too. It looks almost hopeless, Pat.
Now, Tex, remember your own advice. Don't lose your head.
Oh, I know it's all a lot of clever tricks, but they get on your nerves. Those glasses disappearing, for instance. G47 merely had to paint his hands and face, or wore a mask or gloves of some material which would not reflect visible rays through those glasses we had on.
We're going to be allowed to see just what they want us to see, and no more.
That old deck sure sounds good after walking without making a sound for so long.
Sounds like we were back in our own world again.
When Jerry and Joan get here... Say, Pat, I've got it. You remember what we decided?
You mean what we could use to...
Yes. Well, Joan has it. Has it with her right now.
I don't understand.
You will. In less than a minute, I'll be talking to you. And nobody on this island will hear what I say.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Today we begin a brand new Superman adventure. An adventure packed with mystery and action and fun with the most surprising detective you've ever met, Horatio F. Horn.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, is your appetite all primed to eat hearty when you show up at the breakfast table in the morning? Well, it's bound to be if there's a bowl of Kellogg's Pep waiting for you. And it'll get an extra lift if you'll treat yourself to a Peach Rocket. That's this week's Pep Dish of the Week, you know. And it's a knockout. Try it tomorrow. First, line the sides of your breakfast bowl with slices of firm, ripe peaches. Arrange them so that they're pointing up, you know, like rockets. Pour your serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, in the middle so the peaches show up above the flakes. Then milk and sugar, and that's all it takes to make a Peach Rocket, a dish that'll make your appetite really skyrocket. You see, Kellogg's Pep does something for the fruit. It's crisp and it's crunchy and teases your taste so that you keep right on eating until your bowl is polished off clean. And you know, it's very important not to waste cereal nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls across the seas. So, gang, be sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When the local telegrapher in the tiny hamlet of Squeen Run, Ohio, transcribed a certain message, he stared at it unbelievingly, then leaped to the telephone and called the Daily Planet newspaper in Metropolis. Unable to contact Editor Perry White, the telegrapher, who was also the local correspondent for the Planet, began bombarding White with letters and telegrams, demanding that at least 2 top-notch reporters be sent to Squeen Run at once to cover a story of world-shaking importance. White's annoyance increased as the telegrapher correspondent wired that he was coming to Metropolis in person, and then sent almost hourly wires announcing his progress on his journey. As we continue now, the gray-haired editor, at the end of his patience, has summoned Clark Kent and Lois Lane to his office. Listen.
And just 5 minutes ago, Beanie brought me another telegram from this crackpot announcing that he will arrive here in the Daily Planet office at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock? It's just 5 to 3 now.
It is? Good gravy.
Well, now, look, Chief, what's all the fuss about? For the life of me, I can't see why
You can't see why I don't want this place flooded up with small-town correspondents who want to sell me what they call front-page stories out in Squee Dunk?
I thought you said it was Squeen Run.
Oh, what's the difference? Squee Dunk or Squeen Run? I want one of both of you to intercept that character and keep him out of my hair.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Take it easy. Maybe this guy's really got a big story.
What? Are you kidding?
No, isn't it possible that he
Just
stumbled
the
on...
same, I don't want to see him. You understand? Tell him I'm going to India, China, or...
Excuse me, Mr.
Well, what do you want, nuisance?
Nothing except there's a gentleman outside who said you were expecting him at 3 o'clock.
Uh-oh. Right on time.
Well, you tell him I'm not in. And I'm not into anyone for the rest of the day. You get that?
Yes, sir. I'll tell him, but he
Hold it,
said...
Beanie, hold it. Who is this man?
Why, he said his name is...
Horatio F. Horn, sir.
What?
Queen Run correspondent for the great Metropolis Daily Planet. At your service, sir.
Now, look here, mister. You got no right
It's all right, Beanie. It's all right. You may go now.
Yes, get out of my sight, or by George,
Okay, but I don't know what you're so sore at me for.
Now, sir, you, I assume, are Mr. Perry White, my editor.
Your editor. That's right, Mr. Horn. Yes, I'm Clark Kent, and this is Miss Lois Lane.
How do you do, Mr. Horn, is it?
Yes, Horatio F., for French, Horn. I've long admired the repertorial work of each of you, and it is both a delight and a pleasure to be professionally associated with you.
No, this is too much.
Why, thank you. The pleasure's all mine.
Well, thank you, Miss Lane.
We think you've done a fine job of reporting local events in Squeen Run, Mr. Horn.
Such praise from a reporter of your caliber and standing, Mr. Kent, is very flattering indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Horn.
Is it asking too much for this lovely meeting of the Alphonse and Gaston Mutual Admiration Society be adjourned just long enough for me to find out what in blazes brings our esteemed colleague from Squeen Run?
Squeen Run, sir.
What brings you here from wherever it is?
A scoop, sir, a stupendous news beat.
Really?
Yes, a momentous news story of world-taking importance.
You've said that before in 2 long letters and 6 short telegrams. Now, will you please be more explicit?
Yes, please do tell us what event of universal interest is brewing in Squeen Run.
Oh, nothing of such vital proportions ever happened in Squeen Run, Miss Lane.
Then what in thunder have you been writing and talking about?
Why, never said, sir, or even implied that the locale for this tremendous scoop was Squeen Run. It's
What?
Well, it's just that, as detective, I was able to...
Are you a detective, Mr. Horn?
Certainly. Did I neglect to tell you that?
You sure did.
Good Godfrey, what next?
See, here is my badge. Here's a card which identifies me as a bona fide graduate of the FCSDI.
FCD what?
FCSDI. Famous Correspondence School Detective Institute, from which I am proud to say I was graduated summa cum laude.
No, that's fine. That's just great.
Go on, Mr. Horn. You were saying...
Oh, yes. As a detective, I was able to decode a telegram referring to the well-known atomic scientist, Professor Alonzo Sturgeon. And that's
Wait a minute. Where did you get hold of a telegram about Professor Sturgeon?
Why, I intercepted it.
How?
Very simply. You see, I just... oh, dear, how stupid of me. I forgot to tell you that I am also the telegraph operator in Squeen Run.
You are?
No, this is too much. Newspaper correspondent, detective, telegraph operator. Is there anything else you do there?
Oh, why, yes. Every Saturday
never
I
mind
do
that
this,
now, Mr. Horn. Let's get back to the telegram about the famous Professor Sturgeon, shall we? Do you have a copy of it with you, Mr. Horn?
Oh, certainly not. The rules of the telegraph company expressly prohibit such practice.
They do. I see. Well, but tell us how you happened to intercept this message.
Well, sir, it happened a few days ago when the cable crossing at Blandon was washed out, and for nearly 12 hours I was kept at my queue, relaying message to local Circus. Early in the morning, my attention was attracted to a particular message for 2 reasons. First, Mr. White, because it was addressed to you.
To me?
Correct, sir. It was addressed to Perry White, Maple Lodge, Nashville.
Maple Lodge? Why, I never even heard of the place. Why should anyone want to wire me up there?
Obviously, someone is using your name for some nefarious purpose. And as a detective, it was immediately obvious that the code message was never meant for you.
How did you know the message was in code?
Elementary, my dear Miss Lane, elementary. You see, the message, as it was written, made no sense.
Neither do you, for my money.
Oh, you do me a great injustice, Mr. White, as you will see in a moment. Now, by applying the rules as propounded in my detective manual, I decoded the message to read as follows. Airship Big Fish Atom not later than July 2nd. That's today. Do you get that?
Certainly not. Doesn't make sense to me.
Tell me, how do you get a reference to Professor Sturgeon out of that, Mr. Horn?
From the 2 words, big fish. Big fish, sturgeon. Simple, eh?
Oh, yes, very simple.
Seems rather far-fetched to me.
Oh, no, not at all. Now, look. Since Professor Sturgeon is one of the greatest living authorities on the atom, the connection is obvious because, A, the very fact that it was coded implies something of great and vital importance, something secret. B, the fact that it was addressed to Perry White and yet was not meant for our Perry White implies an attempt to make it appear innocuous. Do you follow me so far?
No.
Go on, Mr. Horn.
Let's see, where was I? Oh, yes, A, B, and now, see. The current world interest in atomic energy, coupled with the implied secrecy and vital importance, makes it obvious that the words big fish and atom, unquote, refer to Professor Sturgeon, one of the greatest authorities on atomic fission, you see?
Atomic fish. Yes, it begins to make sense to me, too.
I seem to see a glimmer of light, too.
Well, I don't. So far as I'm concerned, this is a lot of dribble dreamed up in the lame brain of a correspondence school detective. And I'll have none of it.
Now, look,
You heard what I said, Kent. Well, and so did you, Mr. Horatio F. for French Horn. So take your phony scoop story back to Screen Run and don't bother with me again with anything but local news.
But, Mr. White, you're making...
You heard what I said, now beat it. Kent, for the love of heaven, take him out of here before I really blow my top.
You must try to forgive the chief for acting like that, Mr. Horn.
Yes, you see, he's just gone through a very trying experience in which he narrowly escaped death.
Yes, I understand. Just the same, I've never been so humiliated in my life. The way I feel right now, I'm tempted to sever my connection with the Daily Planet and offer my services to the Blaze.
Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do anything like that. I believe there's something in your story about danger to Professor Sturgeon.
So do I.
You do?
Yes. Now, tell me, have you made an attempt to contact Professor Sturgeon to see if he might recognize...
Yes, indeed I have. 3 times I called him long distance, but each time I was not allowed to talk with him personally. His butler insisted the doctor was not available.
Oh, I see.
Today, when I arrived in Metropolis, I called again. No one answered.
Maybe he's out of town.
Impossible. I happen to know that he's supposed to stand by for a rush call from Operation Crossroads, the atom bomb project at Bikini.
Oh, you may have received that call and rushed out there.
That's right.
Well, perhaps, but I still feel uneasy.
I don't know why, but if it'll set your mind at ease, let's run out to Professor Sturgeon's place. Maybe we'll find someone there who can give us more information.
Bully idea, by Gulliver. Let's go.
Still more curious than alarmed, Clark Kent drives Lois Lane and their peculiar colleague, Horatio F. Horn, out to the suburban home of Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, eminent atomic scientist. What will they find there? We'll know more in just a moment, so stand by for the tense climax of today's episode.
Say, gang, how'd you make out with breakfast this morning? Hope you ate the hearty sort of meal that helps start your day in high. And believe me, you can hardly miss if Kellogg's Pep heads the menu. Because Pep is so terrific, you'll want to eat hearty. First off, it looks neat in the dish, all golden and crisp and toasty. Then, when you spoon up those tender whole wheat flakes, you get a slick treat in that sparkling sunshine flavor. Why, Pep is even called the Sunshine Cereal. And is it good for you? Why, you just ask Mom about the solid nourishment that comes in whole wheat. No kidding, gang. Kellogg's Pep has the old stuff that makes breakfast a mighty smooth meal. So keep on the sunbeam. Eat up every single spoonful of Kellogg's Pep in your bowl. And keep in mind that nowadays, the cereal grains are being sent to fellows and girls all over the world. So you wouldn't want to waste cereal. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, appoint yourself a committee of one to help guard against waste. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and polish off every bit you pour out. Remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
To satisfy the uneasiness felt by the Daily Planet's eccentric local correspondent from Queen Run, Horatio F. Horn, who claims to have decoded a mysterious message indicating danger to Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, Clark Kent drove Horn and Lois Lane to the atom scientist's suburban home, where we find them now.
Isn't it lovely out here in the country?
Beautiful. Perfectly beautiful. Did you ring the bell, Miss Kent?
No use. There's no one home.
Oh, now, really, Clark, how can you tell that?
Well, I just know, that's all.
Well, let's ring anyhow and see. Now, here it is.
I tell you, that's a waste of time. What's more, something's happened here that makes me think that message you decoded meant business, Mr. Horn.
Really?
What do you mean, Clark?
Come inside and I'll show you. I think the door's open.
By Gulliver, it is open. That's strange.
Not half so strange as what may have happened to Professor Sturgeon. Look there, in the study.
Good heavens. Why, the place is a shambles. As if there's been a terrible fight.
Shocked, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Horatio Horn stare in horror at the obvious signs of a terrific struggle, which give mute testimony to the fate that has befallen the great atom bomb scientist. What has happened to Professor Sturgeon? Has the eminent authority on atomic energy fallen into the hands of ruthless fascist seekers after world domination? A real job develops for Superman in this new and exciting adventure, one that taxes the superhuman powers of the Man of Steel to the utmost. So don't miss a single thrilling episode. Tune in again tomorrow, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
for excitement, The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, think of all the famous names you know, and you'll think of Kellogg's, the greatest name in cereal. Then you'll think of Kellogg's Shredded Wheat. Makes breakfast loads of fun. Crisp, tender biscuits of whole wheat, toasted just right and packed with natural nut-sweet flavor. Just the right size, too, made to fit the bowl. As for nutrition, well, Mom knows that whole wheat is mighty good for you. And for economy, she likes the 15 biscuits in every package. Try Kellogg's Shredded Wheat. You'll like it. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are drifting along the muddy reaches of a South American river. Your diving gear in readiness, the air pump going. Yet you know that in the murky depths below you, waiting in the slime there for you, is a mortal enemy from whom there may be no escape.
Listen now as Escape brings you Tony Barrett's story, Bloodwaters.
They take you up slowly, always slowly, even in a nothing job like this one. A harbor bottom dive that a beginner would laugh at. I kicked away from the heavy pilings harder than I had to, and I knew I was trying to dull my mind again not to think about it. Trying to sell myself the same old story. That a diver shouldn't care where he works because the job's always the same. There's something down there. They want it. You get it, period. But it didn't work too well. The story was wearing thin. There you are, senor. You want the suit off, or you want to rest first, huh? Rest from what? A 50-foot dive? Get me out of the suit. See?
Perhaps the man knows best, Trent.
Murdoch. A 50-foot dive can be dangerous, but then danger never bothered you, did it? What are you doing here, Murdoch? What do you want? Does an old friend have to want something? I'm not interested in any of your deals. Really? With this job finished and nothing else in sight? I'm busy, Murdoch. Beat it. No curiosity, Trent? Not so much as a, what are you doing in a forsaken hole in Argentina? You never were much at small talk, were you? Goodbye, Murdoch. Wait a minute. Take your hand off me. Why the rush? Where are you going? You know it all. You tell me. All right. I will. What you do between now and tonight does not matter. But at 9 o'clock, I shall expect you at the Café del Rondo, promptly. And if I don't come? Can you afford not to come, Trent? It still takes money to live, even down here. I'll see you at 9 o'clock. You've been talking for an hour now, Murdoch, and you haven't said anything. Get to it.
You have no social graces. Pity. Trent, how would you like never to have to get into diving gear again? To be rich,
really rich. To have everything you ever wanted.
I had everything I wanted once. You remember that, don't you, Murdoch?
How long have you been away from the States, Trent?
What's that got to do with it?
How long?
3 years. 3 stinking years.
And don't you want to go back?
No, I like working jungle holes like this. I like 50-foot dockside dives with native boys that fall asleep on the pumps while you're down there. What are you building?
Fortune for both of us.
What do you want this time? My right eye?
Can't you forget what happened?
Can you?
You're being stupid.
You're out of your territory down here, Murdoch, so talk nice to me.
Look, Trent, in 2 months, we can both walk out of here with more money than you ever dreamed of.
I don't dream anymore.
Gold, Trent. If I told you how much, you would think me mad.
You want to give me half?
You will earn it.
By diving?
Yes. Did I say something humorous?
So you fell for the national industry. Don't you know there's a peddler on every corner down here selling maps of sunken treasure? I love that. The smooth Vincent Murdoch is a tourist.
And now, do you want to hear what I have to say?
Say your piece.
Did you ever hear of the Gran Chacos Rebellion?
Sorry, I'm late, Senor.
Ah, Maria, my dear. May I present Senor Trent Hall? This is Maria Sandoval.
Senorita?
Senor?
Sit down, Maria. Something to drink?
No, gracias.
You said something about a rebellion.
40 years ago, to be exact. Bolivia and Paraguay were at each other's throats. It's in the history books.
I didn't know you were a reader, Murdoch.
The Paraguayans were getting the worst of it. So they loaded a small boat, the Santa Rosa, with millions in gold for shipping up the Paraguay River. It was to go to Brazil for safekeeping.
Well?
After the boat left Puerto Pinasco, it was never seen again. Nor was the gold.
It's true, Senor.
Storm?
They never even found survivors. Besides, where would they look? Have you any idea of the length of the Paraguay River?
2 governments can't find the gold, but you can.
That is correct. I can.
What do you got? Charts?
Better than that.
What then?
I said before that they never found survivors. I did. The only one. Interested, Trent?
I don't want any part of you, Murdoch. Now or any time, so get off my back.
Don't you realize what I'm offering you?
I understand this. It's over. I'm through with you and your schemes, and I'm not running anymore. Get that through your head, you fat slut.
You listen to me.
3 years ago, I listened to you. 3 years down in this sinkhole is what I got for it. 3 years, you foul, filthy pig.
Now I'm going to cut you a new throat.
I don't know how long it lasted. How many times I hit him trying to pay him back for the lonely years. But finally it was over. Finished. And I was back at the waterfront again, tasting the soft breeze coming in from the sea.
Senor? Senor Trent.
What do you want? Oh, Maria, isn't it?
Si, Maria.
I'm sorry if I messed up your friend Murdoch.
He's all right now. Besides, I have seen men fight before.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. You always follow the winner?
Anger forces words the tongue does not want to say.
My name is Trent, not Murdoch. Plain enough.
I know your name, Senor. Oh, there is a scratch on your cheek, Senor. A little blood. Let me... A woman knows how. Senor. Senor.
Is that the way you kiss Murdoch?
Your eyes, Paulito. The anger is still there.
And it shouldn't be, not after that, huh?
Paulito.
Who are you really kissing, Maria, me or him? What do you want, the gold, Murdoch? Everybody wants something. What's yours?
I want you to come with me, senor.
No more Paulito, huh?
Please, come with me, please. I'll show you what I want.
She turned and moved away without ever once looking back, as though she was sure I'd follow her. And she was right. The shack she led me to was less than a half-mile away, no different than any of the others around it. She turned to look at me once as she opened the door, and her eyes were 1,000 years old. She lit a lamp, and I looked where she was pointing. He lay on a bed in the corner, a little Portuguese, maybe 50, cackling softly to himself as though he knew a joke that nobody else would ever know. His hair was pure white, the kind that comes from too much terror, too much shock. And then I saw his hands. From fingertips to elbows, they were a mass of little scars, ugly, needle-like scars that spoke of some past moment of horror. We moved closer, but he never looked up. Just sat crooning softly to a bottle of whiskey cradled in his arm. Maria? Who is he?
Have you never seen a man who has lost his mind to feel? Look well, for he is such a one. Pobrecito. Estoy aquí, todo es bueno. Estoy aquí, pobrecito. Have you seen enough, senor?
Is he
My father. What is left of him?
How did it happen, Maria?
You have already been told.
What?
Murdoch spoke truth tonight when he told of his survivor from the Santa Rosa. There he is.
Later, as we sat staring out at the water, she told me all of it. And it wasn't hard to follow. An old man, driven insane by terror, who clung to Murdoch because Murdoch kept him in whiskey, the one thing that pushed the terror away for a while. Very neat and tidy, the Murdoch touch.
You understand now, Paulito?
Yeah. What do you want me to do, Maria? Make the trip with Murdoch as his diver? Is that what you want?
My father is a child now. Murdoch will lose him and then... Oh.
That's all you wanted from the beginning, isn't it? For me to be a watchdog.
He is my father, Paulito.
Yeah. I never asked. You going along?
Sí, I go.
All right, Maria. I'll dive for Murdoch.
Oh, gracias. Muchísimas gracias.
It's all right.
Paulito, kiss me, please.
Gratitude for your father?
No, not this time, querido. This time, for me.
Murdoch was all sweetness and light next morning when I told him he had a diver. You'd have sworn we were old buddies. He balked at only one thing, my wanting to take along Jose, the kid who'd handled pumps for me on the harbor job. But I wasn't about to do any diving without somebody I trusted handling lines. Murdoch didn't like it, but he couldn't afford to argue. Jose turned out to be a real good investment before we ever got started. That night, as a matter of fact.
Senor?
Oh, you finish up, Jose?
Si. All finished, senor.
You watch him crate the gear?
I did it myself.
I should have known. Thanks.
Senor, how well you know the Senor Murdoch?
Too well. Why? Well, come on, Jose. What is it?
While I was taking care of the gear, he was getting the permisos. How you say?
The permits? Government permits for the interior?
Si. You supposed to name all the people that go.
I know that. What about it?
I saw the papers, senor.
Well?
It's every name there except yours.
see.
But why? Why does he do a thing like that, Senor? What reason?
To save explaining later.
Okay.
Murdoch's got it all figured out, Jose.
I still do not understand. Why are you not on that list?
It's real simple. A man who doesn't make a trip can't be expected to come back from it.
You are listening to Bloodwaters, tonight's presentation of Escape. Millions in Asia living on inadequate diets and additional millions in free Europe fighting for post-war recovery are the beneficiaries when you give to CARE, C-A-R-E. Send a $10 CARE package or the $6.95 budget package. For further details, write CARE, New York. That's CARE, New York. And now, Escape, and the second act of Bloodwaters.
It's a thing you gotta see to believe. A thing that exists every foot of the length of Argentina. Get a couple of hours inland from the coast and you've gone back 1,000 years. Nothing but jungle. Jungle so thick and green you can travel a full day without ever once getting a glimpse of sunlight. It's bad enough any way you try it, but doing it Murdoch's way was the worst. Murdoch, a gold-hungry, penny-pinching man who hadn't hired enough bearers, who skimped on food, and who hated every minute wasted on rest. Maria took it well, quiet for the most part, her eyes never far from Sandoval. The old man was pathetic, shambling along, falling often, uncaring and never hearing. There was only one sound that mattered in his world, the cork coming out of the bottle. And Murdoch was master of the bottle. 4 days of it, 4 stinking, crawling days. And on the morning of the 5th, we came out of it. Stood there, looking out at the Paraguay River. The gold was showing in Murdoch's eyes again.
Look at it, Trent. Beautiful, isn't it?
It's a river, that's all it is. It's been a long walk. Where to now?
3 days upriver. Do you have any objections?
You're footing the bill.
And you should remember that. You check our supplies while I make arrangements for the boat.
Don't you want me to take a look at the boat before you make a deal? Make sure you get a good winch?
You have a short memory, Trent. I'd say I'm fairly capable of making deals, wouldn't you? You just make sure the bearers don't steal anything when they leave.
I take care of that for you, Senor.
Thanks, Jose. Oh, and keep an eye on the old man, eh?
Sí, Senor. Sí.
Ole, hombre. Ven aquí.
Paulito.
Maria, you all right?
Sí. Oh, I'm so grateful to you, querido.
For what?
For everything. Everything. Paulito, you take care with Murdoch. He's a dangerous man.
Yeah. Now listen to me. From here on, it's going to be different.
Different?
We'll all be on a small boat for days, maybe weeks. I won't always be around because of the diving. Here, take the gun. Just take it. And hope you don't have to use it. A couple of hours later, Murdoch came back and waved us down to the river. Instead of being alone, now he had a native with him. A big man he called Batu. A lot of man. Even through the paint on his face, you could see the combination of Mayan and Inca. The 1,000-year-old dignity as he stood looking at us.
Trent, this is Batu. I've just arranged for the boat, and he's going upriver with us. Go help with the loading, Batu.
Batu, help.
What are we taking him for, Murdoch?
He wants to go upriver to his people, and he will work for his passage. We can use him.
You keep adding people, somebody's going to have to swim alongside. That ain't much of a boat.
Now, Trent, this is no time to be at each other's throats. I know we are on the right track. Sandoval started getting excited the moment he saw this part of the river.
For a guy in his condition, you're doing a lot of depending on him.
You let me worry about that. All you have to do is handle your end of things, and that won't begin until we start diving.
You're wrong, Murdoch. I started worrying 3 years ago, remember? 2 days on the river. 2 long days with Murdoch never once taking his eyes off Sandoval. Watching each slightest reaction, the bottle always ready. And the old man needed that bottle now, his terror growing by the minute, and Murdoch loving it because it told him we were getting closer. That night, I was laying out my gear back in the stern when Batu, the big native, came toward me. He wasn't the calm giant anymore, just a man, a terrified man with words tumbling out of his mouth.
You tell Batu. You tell.
Tell you what?
About crazy man.
Crazy? Sandoval? Well, what about him?
Hands.
The scars? You mean how did he get them?
Yes.
I don't know what happened to his hands, but what about him?
Why you come here?
To dive. To bring something up from the water. Why?
No. Not go in water. No.
Why not? What's wrong?
Not go. Devil water. Devil water. You not go in devil water.
And that's all I could get out of him. Just that. It was a long time before I got to sleep that night. Late on the 3rd day, we dropped anchor just outside a small cove. Murdoch was out of his mind with excitement. But it was too dark for diving. We'd start in the morning. Batu wanted to go ashore to see his people. Swore he'd be back before sunup. Murdoch didn't like it, but he had no choice. We needed the big man on pumps. In the morning, we were up at dawn, and Batu was back aboard. He didn't say much. He was never more than a couple of feet away from me, and his eyes never left me. But I didn't have time to think about it. I had my own troubles.
What's taking you so long, Fred?
Oh, you and your penny pinching. You've been had, Murdoch.
Well, what's wrong?
Well, not a thing, except this winch is on its last leg.
Well, let's not argue. Repair it the best you can.
Talk cheap, but I'm the guy who goes down there.
Listen to me, Trent. We're close, really close. Sandoval swears it's right beneath us. He has to be right. He's pointed out landmarks all the way.
Wait a minute. What's that?
It's native drums,
Probably a welcome. Get that chute closed, Trent. We're losing time.
You remember what I say about clear lines down there, Senor? Huh?
I'll remember.
And don't you forget. Look, Senor. Look on the shore.
Natives, 6 or 7 of them.
It's part of Batu's tribe.
What's that they're carrying?
It looks like a pig or a goat.
And their throat is cut.
What is it, Batu? What are they doing?
Make sacrifice to river god.
But why now?
Save you.
From what? What's down there?
A native superstition, Trent. Where's your intelligence? Are you ready?
Batu.
You not stay in water long. Kataya!
On the beach, they heard his command, and the pig was thrown into the river. A moment later, Jose had bolted my helmet in place, and I was being lowered over the side of the boat. Everything was forgotten now. But the work is staying alive. That's how it is with diving. You can do it 1,000 times, but it's always new. Jose knew it. Through the phone, I could hear him worrying with me.
You all right, Senor?
Yeah. Read me.
See? 11 fathoms.
Stay with me. I'm going to have a look around. I checked my lines and started toward a large mass of shadow. Distances underwater fool you. I was on it almost before I started. It was a ship, or what was left of one. Her back had been broken in two, and her stern was right in front of me. I read it aloud. Santa Rosa.
What's that, Senor?
I found it. Start a line down.
He's found it. You're here. He's found it.
I went in carefully, slowly, making sure of my lines. It didn't take me 20 minutes to find it. A tremendous iron-bound chest. I scratched the slime off with my knife, and there it was. The official seal of Paraguay. There wasn't any doubt now what was inside. I got a line around it, told them which way to swing the winch, and managed to get it out in the clear for the trip up. I just about finished when I felt a signal on my line. What is it?
Batu says to get up here quick. You've been down too long.
Why?
Friend, this is Murdoch. Let's get the gold up first. Another moment won't hurt you. Let's not take chances on a foul line.
Let's not take chances on me. Tell Jose to take me up.
advise that I shall shoot him. The gold comes up first. Stand clear, French.
Murdoch, listen. My knife is across the line. You turn that winch and I'll cut the line. You hear me?
You're insane. I could cut your air holes.
Go on, cut it. I'm tired of living with you on my back anyway.
Oh, all right, Trent, all right. Now, don't get excited. We're taking you up.
Slowly, they began taking me up. And then I realized why. Murdoch knew once I started up, I couldn't possibly cut the line that held the chest. He took me up just far enough to get my hands on the bottom rung of the Jacob's ladder and hang there helplessly. Then, through the phones, I could hear the creak of the winch as he started hauling up the chest. Looking up through the water, I could see Murdoch leaning over the rail as he waited for the chest to break water. And then it happened. A sudden sharp sting on my hand. And when I looked, I saw blood. Blood and a 6-inch fish racing in for another bite. In a second, there were more of them. Little needle-toothed devils plunging at the canvas suit, even trying to bite through the steel of the helmet to get at the flesh inside. And at last I understood everything. Why Batu called it devil water. Why Sandoval had gone insane. And what happened to the crew of the Santa Rosa. That 6-inch fish was the South American piranha, a cannibal so deadly it strips a man to the bone in 30 seconds. Then I heard something else. The winch. Murdoch had been driving it too fast even for a good winch. It started to crumple just as the chest broke water. Murdoch saw the chest inches from his hand start slipping back. And the thought of losing the gold drove him crazy. He grabbed for it. Even as the chest pulled him down past me, he was still holding on to it. Even as the piranha left me to strip easier pickings than steel and canvas, he held on to it, and I knew he'd never let go. How could he? Hadn't the gold pulled him halfway around the world, and then climbed out of the water to get him?
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you Bloodwaters by Tony Barrett, starring Vic Perrin. Featured in the cast were Jack Crucian, Lillian Bayef, Tony Barrett, and Barney Phillips. Your announcer, George Walsh. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are one of 4 people trapped in an isolated trading post somewhere in the Yukon Territory. The blizzard outside making escape impossible. And you know that before the spring thaws release you, before you can leave this cabin behind you, one of your companions, by consent of the others, will be killed.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Les Crutchfield's story, Judgment Day at Crippled Deer. Every weekday for 90 solid minutes, Arthur Godfrey Time presents that redhead himself, coming up with one surprise after another. And every Friday night on most of these same CBS radio stations, we take the top surprises, the best songs, the biggest laughs out of the daytime shows, and group them together into a big once-a-week treat. Tomorrow night, don't miss the Arthur Godfrey Digest at the Star's address. Daytime is a gay time with Arthur Godfrey Time on the CBS Radio Network.
Rice Chex and Wheat Chex, the bite-sized cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Commander Corey is in a spaceship trying to contact Cadet Happy, who's in a spacesuit on the surface of Neptune's second moon.
Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy. Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy on Neptune number 2. Happy, disregard previous orders. You can break spacephone silence. Come in, Happy.
Cadet Happy here, Commander.
This is Urgent Hap. Gargot's men have orders to keep you from reaching the scout ship.
I know. Well, one of his gang is right behind me now with a blast gun.
Better surrender, Hap. There's nothing else you can do.
But, Commander, I've got to reach that ship. I'm low on oxygen. In 5 minutes, all the air will be gone.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Test for Survival. Hey, Space Patroller, it's getting kind of late and I'm getting kind of hungry. Hey, let's take time out right now for a big bowl full of rice checks.
Swell, Captain Two-Fellow. Rice checks. Tops with me.
Tops with me, too, Space Patroller. And it'll be tops with you, gang. Tops 3 ways. For taste, for size, for get up and go. There's one bowl. And here's one from me. Space Patrollers, when you fill up your own bowls with those neat triple toasted shredded rice biscuits, you're getting one spoonful after another of the easiest, tastiest bite-size eating ever, because rice checks are tops for taste and size, and tops for get up and go, too. Mornings after you finish off a good, nourishing breakfast with rice checks, you'll see what I mean. You'll be right there with the right answers in school and the right scores in sports.
If you like whole wheat, try wheat checks. It's tops, too.
So look for rice checks and wheat checks in the red and white checkerboard packages, with a picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside.
And the swell 3 Space Patrol trading card inside.
Rice checks, wheat checks. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, Test for Survival. For 1,000 Space Patrol cadets, today marks the beginning of an adventure. These 1,000 cadets have been selected to take part in the annual survival test, to pit their skill and courage against the rigors and problems of outer space and the simulated opposition of an enemy force. Of all the cadets chosen for these tests, it's safe to say that only one is disappointed with the assignment. That solitary individual is Cadet Happy. Glumly, he sits in Commander Corey's central office at Space Patrol headquarters, staring at his special orders.
Oh, all the times for this to happen.
Bad news, Happy?
The worst. I'm on the list for the survival tests. Now I can't go with you to Pluto. Unless you could sort of...
No.
I didn't think you would, sir. Well, it's up to me to take my turn, I guess.
What kind of assignment did you draw, Happy?
A real cream puff deal. And here's what the orders say. Cadet Happy will pilot Scout Ship T681 to Neptune Moon number 2, landing in Sector D4 at 0800 hours Universal Star Time. Upon landing, the ship will be considered inoperative, including all weapons and spaceophone equipment.
Oh, you're to act as though the ship were knocked out of action.
Yes, sir. And then it says, you will attempt to reach the communications outpost in Sector F9 by 2200 hours without revealing your presence to enemy forces concealed between the 2 sectors.
Sounds interesting.
Spaceophone silence will be maintained throughout the entire operation. Enemy forces will be provided with special long-range ray guns that will register hits on the sensitized outer coating of the spacesuit. Big deal.
Sounds like fun, huh?
Fun? It's kids' stuff. Here I'll be sneaking around craters playing hide-and-seek with other cadets that are pretending they're the enemy. What's the good of it?
Don't get the idea this is just a game, Happy. You'll be testing new equipment. What you and the other cadets learn in this survival test might easily help to save a life someday.
I suppose so, Commander, but... Gee, if I could go to Pluto with you, I could have some real excitement.
I'm not looking for any big adventure on this trip, Happy.
You're not? But if this Steve Hegdorn is as tough as Morton says he is, and if he's part of the Cobra gang...
If things go the way I plan, Hegdorn won't have time to get tough. You see, when I walk into Hegdorn's office in Pluto City, I'll be in civilian clothes. He'll assume I'm one of Morton's men coming to make the regular protection payoff. When he accepts the money, I'll take it in for extortion.
And maybe get a line on how we can find Gargoth.
Right. By then you'll be through with your survival test, and I promise you that you can help get Gargoth and the rest of his Cobra gang.
Okay, Commander. But I still wish I was going with you instead of to this garden party on Neptune's moon.
The training command doesn't plan garden parties, Hap. These tests are going on all over the solar system. Every detail has been worked out by Space Patrol officers who have been through the mill. You can be sure they've planted some obstacles to take the cockiness out of anyone who doesn't take the test seriously.
Oh, I'll be on the alert, Commander.
Good. Obey every order to the letter. And good luck, Happy.
Thank you, Commander, and same to you.
The Zenith Consultant Service occupies a small suite of offices in the Phobos building in Lowell City on the planet Mars. A curious observer might notice that a peculiar assortment of people pass in and out of the office during the course of a week. But then a consultant service would be expected to welcome various types of people in need of consultation. One would never suspect that the Zenith Consultant Service was a device to hide the operations of a syndicate of criminals, a respectable front for Emil Gargoth, leader of the Cobra Gang. At this moment, Gargoth is consulting with Rex Kralin, who has just arrived from Terra.
You're very enterprising, Kralin. But frankly, I don't see how this schedule of Space Patrol survival tests is of any interest to me.
I just thought you ought to know that these cadets are likely to pop up anywhere for the next few days.
What do I care about a lot of rookies? Let them play their games.
But, Mr. Gargoth, there'll be 4 units crawling all over Neptune Moon number 2.
Moon number 2?
Now, look here at Problem 9. They picked an area right near our underground storage station.
All the desolate places in the universe, they had to pick this one.
Of course, the station is well hidden, but just by chance, they might stumble across it.
Yes. And we've got thousands of credits worth of stolen goods there.
There might be time to get it off the moon before the Space Patrol tests begin.
I don't have the ships available. What kind of activity is going on in that sector, Kralin?
Here's a chart of the area. The cadet will start here, at this point. Try to work his way to here. There'll be about 20 men scattered all through here, in the craters, acting as enemy opposition.
Oh, I see. They're chasing all over this region, trying to capture that one cadet.
That's right. Actually, they won't have to capture him to put him out of the game. They've got a special ray gun that projects a pinpoint beam. It's harmless, of course, but it produces a photochemical effect on the spacesuit. The suits in the test have a thin coating sensitive to those particular rays.
All right. If he gets out of the game early, they'll go home. Is that it?
Well, yes, those in that particular problem will.
Then let's hope a dumb cadet draws that sector.
It isn't going to work that way. That assignment goes to Commander Corey's sidekick, Cadet Happy.
Kralin, this is the opportunity I've been waiting for. We'll capture Cadet Happy, and then we can make Corey come to terms.
Capture Corey's cadet? But, Mr. Gargoth, that's...
It'll be easy. I'll have a ship drop you off on Neptune's second moon before the cadet gets there. You can grab him before any of the other space patrollers see him.
Me?
Oh, you're the ideal man for the job. You were in the Space Patrol once, weren't you?
Before I get kicked out.
Here's your chance to get even. Now listen. Here's the way we'll work.
Those who are forced to deal with Steve Hegdorn on the planet Pluto regard him as a man dangerous to trifle with. Surrounded by brutal thugs, Hegdorn exacts tribute from law-abiding citizens and from lesser racketeers alike. Too intimidated to report to the Space Patrol, his victims continue to pay the increasing demands of Hegdorn. Those who live in dread of Steve Hegdorn would be greatly astonished to learn that there is one man in the universe that Hegdorn fears.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Gargoth. Truly I am.
Your being sorry, Hegdorn, doesn't make up for the fact that you're 5,000 credits short.
I know. It's that Morton account. I got my men out now trying to locate Morton. He may have left Pluto City.
That's your problem. I put you in charge of my affairs on Pluto because I thought you could handle things efficiently.
I appreciate that, Mr.
Do you think I have time to get on the space phone to find out why you can't collect from your clients? There's no place in the Cobra Gang for incompetence, Hegdorn. If you prevent Morton to get away with this, others will try it.
I'll get the 5,000 from Morton, I promise.
And get this, Hegdorn. If the Pluto quota is short by as much as 1 credit next month, you're through. Cobra out.
Oakes, come in here.
Yes, Mr. Hegdorn.
Have you found Morton yet?
No, sir, but the boys...
I'm not interested what the boys think. Find Morton and get that 5,000 credits. There is no place in this organization for incompetence. Now get out.
Elsewhere, a small scout ship has just landed in Sector D4 on Neptune's second moon. Out of the ship steps Cadet Happy in a spacesuit. In his hand, he carries a ray rifle, a harmless training weapon capable only of making a tiny dot on especially sensitized objects. As he walks across the craggy surface of the satellite, Happy reports his actions into a compact micro-tape recorder that's part of his spacesuit paraphernalia.
Cadet Happy assigned to survival test problem 9, Neptune 2. Orders of procedure have been followed exactly. I landed the scout ship in Sector D4 at 0800 hours. It is now 0803. My suit spacephone is turned off. I am now carefully proceeding south by southwest towards sector E10. So far, no sightings of enemy units. Oxygen pressure normal. External temperature 203 degrees below zero. Internal suit temperature plus 68. Normal.
In Pluto City, a studious-looking young man carrying a document case enters the office of Steve Hegdorn. Even Buzz Corey's close associates would have to look twice to recognize the Space Patrol Commander-in-Chief. Not only is he wearing civilian clothes, but he has modified his confident stride and allowed his straight shoulders to assume a scholarly slump. Looking up from his desk, Hegdorn scowls at his visitor in an intimidating manner.
Yes, what is it?
I'm here representing Mr. Morton.
Oh, so you're representing Mr. Morton, huh? You're his lawyer, I suppose.
Well, not exactly.
Well, if Morton sent you here under the impression that I'll dicker with you over his fees, he's mistaken.
I've got the money here, Mr. Hegdorn.
Oh, well, that's different. Let's have it.
Well, 5,000 credits, isn't it?
That's right. And you can just inform Mr. Morton that he'd better pay up on time after this.
Here's the money. Count it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000. Right. Now get out.
I'd like a receipt.
Receipt? I get it. Morton wants to be sure you gave the money to me, huh? All right. I'll just make it out for services rendered to Harvey Morton. There you are.
Thanks. Now, Hegdorn, you're under arrest.
Under arrest? What for?
Extortion and intimidation. Here's my identification.
So you're Commander Corey. I was expecting you, but not till later.
Usually I prefer a more direct approach to criminals, Hegdorn, but you've got your victims so intimidated I had to get evidence on you personally. Come along.
Get him up, Corey. Corey, the man behind you with the ray gun is Bull Oakes. He handles my rougher assignments. I advise you to do as he says.
Get him up.
Sure. Now, boss, help me. Let go of that gun. Hold him out.
Corey's quick as a cat. Nearly broke my arm. You hadn't slugged him, Mr.
Stop
Hector.
babbling, Oakes. What kind of a bodyguard are you when I have to rescue you?
How did I know he was going to turn on me?
Well, keep an eye on him. If he tries to get up, slug him. I'm going to spaceophone the Cobra and tell him I captured Commander Corey.
On Neptune's second moon, Cadet Happy cautiously works his way along the shallow fissure, from time to time reporting his progress and observations into the microtape recorder built into his spacesuit.
08:57 hours. The black shadow of the mountain extends across this fissure 100 yards ahead. When I reach that shadow, I've just sighted an enemy scout. He's coming toward me. Apparently he doesn't see me because he's making no effort to keep covered. He'll be an easy target for the ray rifle. It's a shame not to warn him, but rules are rules.
Look, Cadet, put away that silly ray rifle and get out of that ditch. Your survival test is over.
This must be one of those special obstacles Commander Corey warned me about. This fellow may be an officer trying to trick me into breaking spaceophone silence.
I'm telling you, Cadet Happy, this isn't a game. Maybe this will prove it to you.
Smoking rockets, that was no ray rifle. He's got a real blast gun. That shot chipped off a hunk of rock 3 feet away.
There, Cadet. That ought to prove to you I'm not with the Space Patrol. Your make-believe enemies are 5 miles away. Now throw that useless ray rifle down and come with me. Oh, and if you're wondering what's going to happen to you, well, that's up to the Cobra.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. This is Dick Tufeld in St. Louis reporting on the twin-jet Air Force fighter, the McDonnell Voodoo XF-88A. In a moment, we'll hear from the noted test pilot who flies this plane, Phil Houghton. Speed of the Voodoo is a military secret, but it's plenty fast. Wingspan is 40 feet, length 55, weight 10 tons. And now, Phil Houghton, recorded this morning at Lambert Airfield.
After seeing the Voodoo, I guess you know why I like my job. There's one thing about it, though. A test pilot has to stay in good condition, get lots of sleep, and eat good, healthy food. That's why I like rice checks and wheat checks for breakfast. They've got plenty of energy in them, and they really taste swell. I think you'll like them, too.
No other cereal, puffed or flaked, contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So do as Phil Houghton, J. Ray Donahue, Jr., and other top test pilots do. Make your cereals Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. And now back to our Space Patrol adventure, Test for Survival. Emil Gargoth, leader of the criminal syndicate known as the Cobra Gang, has learned that Cadet Happy is taking part in the Space Patrol survival tests on Neptune's second moon. Knowing that the test rules prohibit the use of suit spacephones, Gargoth sent one of his men, Rex Kralin, to capture Happy. Armed only with a harmless ray rifle, Happy was powerless to defend himself against Kralin's deadly blast gun and submitted to capture. Meantime, on the planet Pluto, Commander Corey has been overpowered by two other members of Gargoth's gang, Steve Hegdorn and Bull Oakes. Right now, Hegdorn is in a private space cruiser, heading sunward from Pluto, with Commander Corey lying on the deck of the control cabin, securely bound.
Hegdorn calling Cobra. Hegdorn aboard cruiser P2494 calling Cobra. Hegdorn here, waiting for further instruction. Come in, Cobra.
Cobra here. Go ahead.
Where do you want me to take Corey?
Send a vector toward Mars. I'll give you further instructions later.
All right, Mr. Gargoth.
Have you got yourself covered back on Pluto?
Sure. I left Oakes there to destroy all our records. Don't worry, there won't be anything to involve you.
See that there isn't.
You can depend on me, Mr. Gargoth. Incidentally, I got that 5,000 credits mortar node.
Destroy it. You fool, don't you realize Corey marked it so the Space Patrol could trace it?
I guess that's right. Oh, incidentally, Corey's acting pretty stubborn. He says he won't tell you a thing.
Oh, he'll talk all right.
That's what you think, Gargoth.
For your information, Commander, one of my men has captured Cadet Happy.
You're lying.
Am I? Right now, your cadet is in an underground hideout on Neptune's moon number 2. He was captured during the survival test. He'll talk all right, Corey. Or something very unpleasant will happen to Cadet Happy.
In the Cobra Gang's underground hideout on Neptune number 2, Gargoth's agent Kralin holds Happy at the point of a blast gun. Both men are still in their spacesuits, but with their face pieces open.
So you're one of the Cobra Gang, are you?
That's right, Cadet. My name's Rex Kralin. Gargoth finds my knowledge of the Space Patrol quite useful.
Yeah? How do you know anything about the Space Patrol?
I used to belong to the organization. I was dishonorably discharged when I was unable to explain how some of my buddies' belongings were in my possession.
A thief. A rotten thief.
Where did your honesty get you, Cadet? You're in a hopeless spot. Me, I'm sitting pretty.
Oh, are you? There are 20 space patrollers in this sector of the moon trying to find me. They'll keep searching until they do.
And they're armed with harmless ray rifles. I've got a blast gun.
Cobra to Kralin. Cobra calling Kralin.
Yeah, there's the boss. Now, you stay where you are. Remember, I'm watching you every second. Kralin here. Go ahead, Cobra.
Is everything under control there?
Perfectly, but how do I get off this moon?
Take the cadet and work your way back to scout ship he landed in Sector D4. And listen, don't let anything happen to him. I want him back here alive.
Okay, but suppose he gets tough.
Put him to sleep with a cosmic ray gun if you have to. Then carry him to the ship. I want Commander Corey to know the cadet is alive, so we'll do everything to keep him that way.
I get it. When Corey finds out we got the cadet, he'll come to terms.
He already knows it, Kralin. And what's more, we've got Corey, too.
What?
Hegdorn got him on Pluto. Corey's on his way to Mars right now in Hegdorn's cruisers.
Hey, that's great. Now we got... Hey, come back here.
What's the matter?
That cadet made a break for the airlock.
You blundering fool, go after him. You've got to stop him before he gets to the ship.
You aren't so cocky now, are you, Corey? Now that we've got Cadet Happy.
If anything happens to him, Hegdorn, I'll get you and Gargoth. It's the last thing I do.
The smart thing for you to do is to forget those threats and give Gargoth the information he wants.
Cobra to Hegdorn. Cobra calling Hegdorn.
Hegdorn here. Go ahead, Cobra.
Quick, Hegdorn. What's your position?
Near the Neptune orbit. Why?
That idiot Kralin let the cadet get away.
What?
As he's out of the hideout and probably headed for the scout ship. How long will it take you to reach Neptune moon number 2?
Oh, I'd say about 15 minutes, maybe less.
Then change your vector. You've got to make sure the cadet doesn't get to that ship.
But, boss, we can't land a ship there during those survival tests. Those space patrollers will spot us.
No, they won't break spacephone silence except in an emergency. And by the time they realize there is an emergency, the cadet will be finished.
What do you mean?
The the cadet won't surrender to Kralin and blast him with the space torpedo. Get away before those men on maneuvers know what happened.
Listen to me, Gorgon. If anything happens to
You
Happy...
listen to me, Corey. You want to save the cadet, do what I tell you. Get on the space phone and order Happy to surrender to Kralin. Understand?
All right, Gorgon.
Hagdorn, switch to the space patrol frequency. I'm sure Corey will tell you how.
Okay, Mr. Gorgon.
And watch him. Don't let him try any tricks. Cobra out.
All right, Corey. What's the frequency?
672.3 megacycles.
Stand up, then. I'll set it. Go ahead.
Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy. Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy on Neptune number 2. Happy, disregard previous orders. You can break spacephone silence. Happy, can you read me?
Cadet Happy here, Commander.
This is urgent, Hap. Gargant's men have orders to keep you from reaching the scout ship.
I know. One of his gang is right behind me with a blast gun.
Better surrender. There's nothing else you can do.
But, Commander, I've got to reach that ship. I'm low on oxygen. In 5 minutes, all the air will be gone. Kralin's firing at me.
Hit the dirt, Hap.
That's enough, Corey.
Hey, darn you dirty rat, if my hands weren't tied.
Go ahead. Pull. Pull on those ropes. They'll only get tighter. Go ahead. Pull. You can't break them.
So I couldn't break them. Don't reach for that gun. I said don't reach for it. Just lie there and don't cause any trouble. I'm going to get this ship to Neptune number 2.
With his oxygen supply getting lower with every breath, Cadet Happy crawls across the rough, barren rocks of Neptune's second moon, trying to keep within the inky black shadows. Steadily, Rex Kralin advances toward him, blast gun in hand. A few hundred yards away, the scout ship rests where Happy landed it many hours before. A few steps more, and Kralin stands over the exhausted cadet. Carefully, Kralin adjusts the power control of his spacesuit transmitter, limiting it to the range of less than 50 feet.
I heard what you told the commander. Your oxygen is about gone. You'll never be able to make it to the ship under your own power, so I'm going to have to carry you. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm going to turn your transmitter volume down, just in case. If you're hoping any of your pals on maneuvers are going to come to your rescue, forget it. Even with you on my back, I can make it to the ship in a few minutes. Now, look, Cadet, you're about gone. So don't try to give me any trouble when I lift you.
Oh, okay.
All right, now. Hey, where's that light coming from? A spaceship. A private cruiser. That must be Hagdorn. And he's looking for us. This is a break. I won't have to lug you to the scout ship after all. Look at him come. Hagdorn sure knows how to handle the ship. Oh, nice landing. It's only a few yards to the cruiser. Think you can walk it with a little help?
I'll try.
Now, come on your feet. This is a break. Now we won't have to worry about having to get rid of that scout ship. Well, the hatch is opening. Say, Hagdorn's coming to help me. Hagdorn, can you read me? Hagdorn. Hagdorn, use your spacephone. It's okay. There's nobody within 5 miles of us. That's not Hagdorn.
That's right, Kralin.
Commander!
I'm warning you, Commander. Don't come any closer. The cadet gets a charge from this blast gun.
Kralin, listen. We've got to get Happy into the ship. He's nearly out of oxygen.
The decision is up to you, Commander. Let me get to the cruiser, then you get the cadet to the scout ship.
Can't you see there isn't time?
And it's just too bad for the cadet. I'll finish you with a blast gun if you take another step. Cadet, let go of me.
Drop that gun, Kralin. I've got a sharp sliver of rock in my glove. How would you like to have it jammed into your spacesuit?
Let go of me.
Drop the gun, or you'll be in the same fix I am.
You haven't the strength left.
Give me that gun, Kralin.
All right, now get Happy to the cruiser.
Come on, pick him up.
Sure, okay.
Now get moving.
Inside the cruiser, Happy quickly revives. With a fresh oxygen bottle attached to his spacesuit, he helps Commander Corey transfer Kralin and Hagdorn to the scout ship. Now, with Happy at the controls, they've just blasted off from Neptune's second moon and are headed for Terra with their 2 prisoners.
Either of them will talk, Happy. We know Gargoff is in Lowell City on Mars.
Yeah, the brainograph will clear that up.
Yes, but too late.
How do you mean, sir?
Cobra calling Hagdorn. Cobra to Hagdorn. Cobra, to Kralin. Kralin! Either of you answer immediately.
That's what I mean. That Gargoth won't wait around long enough to find out what happened to his
Kralin!
man.
Hegdorn! I suppose you're listening, Corey. Well, I don't suppose I'll be hearing from Kralin and Hegdorn. So would you please inform them that their services are no longer required? Cobra out.
Are you going to answer him, sir?
Not now. But I have to say to Gargoth, I'll say to his face, and that day will come sooner than he thinks.
Yes, sir. Smoking rockets.
What's the matter, huh?
I never did get to that communications outpost. I flunked the survival test.
Oh, I'm sure you can prove you passed it.
I can? How?
The best proof in the universe. You're alive.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. How will you have the Space Patrollers? Out of the bowl with cream and sugar, or out of the box for snacks? Well, in case you haven't guessed, I'm talking about Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. Tops any way you eat 'em, any time you eat 'em. Tops 3 ways. 1 for taste, 2 for size, 3 for get up and go. Rice Chex. Triple golden toasted shredded rice biscuits. Hollow inside, so they fill right up with milk or cream, and plenty luscious eating. Wheat Chex. Good whole wheat, super rich in action energy. The kind of action energy that made Buzz Corey Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. Oh, you'll love Wheat Chex from the first to the last delicious bite. And remember, gang, Chex are made in that modern bite-sized design for the easiest, breeziest, tastiest eating ever. So, Space Patrollers, this morning, tomorrow morning, every morning, have yourself a good, nourishing Space Patrol breakfast with Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. In the red and white checkerboard packages with the full-color picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside and the neat free Space Patrol trading card inside. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex, tops for taste, tops for size, tops for get up and go. And now a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are trying to escape from a mansion on the planet Venus, where they're held prisoners by Emil Gargoth, leader of the Cobra Gang. Suddenly, Happy moves toward a large cabinet and opens it.
Wow, is this a break, Commander? Weapons, ray guns, blasters, paralyzers.
Take a couple of ray guns, Happy.
Something just made me go to this cabinet, a real strong hunch.
No, Hap, take the ray guns. Those are blasters. Put them back.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm not arguing, sir, but wouldn't the sight of a blaster have more effect on Gargoth?
All right, it doesn't matter. Let's get careful, Happy. You're pointing the gun right at me. Lower your arm.
I can't. Something's controlling my movements.
Happy, lower that gun.
I'm trying to. Commander, my finger is squeezing the trigger, and I can't stop it.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, The Secret of Dr. Borodak, when Rice Chex and Wheat Chex again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Devery. Other players were Ken Mayer, Norman Jolly, Bela Kovach, and Stephen Robertson. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Rice Chex and Wheat Chex again present Space Patrol! Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program in your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.